This video might trigger some people because it's going to go against a lot of the things that we have been conditioned with in our culture. So we're very deeply conditioned with this idea that life has to be this struggle, that life just has to be hard. There's got to be a lot of pain in life. And I want to flip this completely on its head. I'm going to be flipping a lot of stuff completely on its head. Complete 180 in this video. So you don't recognize that your life can be easy through analysis. This is a very core point here. If you want your life to feel more harmonious and more effortless, you do this by being in the body. You do this by attuning to the body. You do this by connecting to yourself. And essentially, you'll notice that a lot of things you do in your life actually make you feel heavy. There's this sense of weight. There's a sense of numbness, dullness. And you just start to let go of that stuff. Now let's talk about what prevents us from doing that. So a lot of what I'm saying in this video involves letting go and being flexible. Because essentially life is this constant flow. This continuous flow of arising and passing phenomena. It's very spontaneous. And you have to be flexible, continuously adapting to it. So this is really about a continuous attunement to yourself and the present. This involves letting go of self-concepts, beliefs, ideas of what you should be doing. So when we have a self-concept or a belief, our body organizes itself around that belief. Our body is this highly adaptive, intelligent organism. So when you have this idea of, I should be a hardworking person, your body actually begins to harden up in certain areas and tense up in certain areas and forms holding patterns, right? In order to hold that identity. And it becomes uncomfortable because you have parts of you that you've probably repressed that don't want to be a hardworking person. They just want to chill. They just want to relax. So essentially, there's this repression of what's going on because you have this concept of who you are, of a hardworking person or this or that. And you don't really integrate the full spectrum of who you really are. So naturally, when those parts of you that want to relax, for example, they don't want to just be this hardworking person, when these parts of you try and emerge, you repress them. Or when you allow yourself to just stop working, anything like that, you start to feel guilty about it. You basically start suffering. Because when we hold the self-concept, like I said, your body forms a holding pattern around that. It starts to shift around that. And life is going to rub against those hard spots on you. It's going to start to wear them down. And if you can't let go and open up and be flexible and let go of your self-concept, your ego essentially, if you can't be soft in your body and open, what's going to happen is you're going to suffer because life is going to be poking you in those hard spots. Essentially, they're just sensitive spots. And it's just going to be uncomfortable. Right? So I want to flip this paradigm upside down of our mind is smart and the body's a hunk of meat. I want to flip this upside down to our body's highly intelligent and our mind not so much. So the body is intelligent and actually knows what it needs. And you only really understand this by continuously attuning to it, by regulating the nervous system. Because when the nervous system is always stuck in fight, flight, freeze, you can't feel safe. You can't be grounded. You can't actually listen to the body. It's too overwhelmed. It's too unregulated. It's hard to be in the body because it's just so stuck in survival mode, essentially. So the body knows what it needs. And it's really important to just take a lot of time into investigating your own nervous system and just settling it down so you can really listen to the body. You can actually attune to it well. Right? So regulating the nervous system allows you to just be grounded and just relax. And once it's regulated, you stop fighting life. This is where the idea of life can feel easy begins to really flourish. You stop fighting life. your relationship to this present experience essentially shifts. You're not fighting against the energies and the feelings and the thoughts that are arising. You're not fighting against basically the flow of energy of life, what you're giving out into the world and what you're taking in from the world. You're not struggling against it. You're in this continuous sense of acceptance with what is. And from there, this sense of deep, continuous flow begins to arise. This sense of spontaneity and a visceral sense of impermanence you begin to become aware of it. Whereas you were once cut off from it. You were too rigid to feel that, to notice that. You didn't feel safe enough. You were holding on to too much of your self-concepts. You were too just rigid and fixed. Right? You stop essentially fighting ease, because your natural state is one of surrender, openness. And when we're habitually unregulated, we start fighting. We can't be grounded and settled into the experience. So we're just fighting ourselves. We're fighting our own ease. We're fighting ourselves. You stop fighting yourself. Right? So in a lot of my videos, I've mentioned a lot of particular habits that are really needed for your long-term psychological development and overall well-being and your spiritual development. Right? So I've mentioned things like meditation retreats, diet, exercise, yoga, stretching, writing, reading books that are healing, right? I got a free book list. It's full of books that will help you out with that. And just a lot of healing work. And typically what happens when people hear this is they hear this and then their mind turns it into like, this is what I should be doing, and then all this stuff over here is what I shouldn't be doing. It turns it into like this program, this like mechanical routine. And there's nothing wrong with routines. I'm a very routine-oriented guy. It's just that the routine becomes very fixed and rigid very fast. That's the core issue with this. Right? And then we start to get this idea of like we have to be disciplined and stick to this sort of thing. Right? And discipline is, it's pretty important, but only up until a certain point. You see, discipline works to get you to a certain point of development, but then once you want to go past that, you actually have to let go of discipline. It's very counterintuitive. So you need discipline up until a certain point, because essentially discipline, it becomes rigid. It becomes like you're following a set of programs. You're not attuning to life. You just have this belief about like, this is what I should be doing, and then you're just kind of acting in that way. And life is not about following some kind of step-by-step program or routine. Life is essentially a spontaneously arising flow of energy, just arising and passing, arising from pure consciousness, moment by moment by moment. This is what you are, this is what I am, this is what everything essentially is. So discipline, in a sense, let's say if you're a caterpillar, it's like a caterpillar eating a bunch of leaves and doing what it has to do so that it can become the butterfly. At that level of development, the caterpillar has to be doing that stuff that it has to be doing, what I'm going to call discipline, in order to get to the point where it can be a butterfly. But in order to be a butterfly, it has to let go at one point all that discipline, all the stuff that it said I should be doing, in a sense. The caterpillar probably doesn't say that. I don't know what the experience of a caterpillar is like. I'm making the assumption that the caterpillar doesn't think like that, doesn't really think at all like that either. But essentially, I really hope you're understanding my point, that the discipline gets you to a certain point, and then to go past that, there needs to be this letting go of the old conditioning, letting go of the familiar, letting go of the self-concepts that you have sort of created as a byproduct of being within that conditioning. So when things get heavy, drop them. See, there's no rules to follow here, right? There's no rules to follow in life. Like I said, there's no program. There's none of this stuff. This is very counterintuitive stuff that I'm actually saying in this video. See, there's no diet to follow. There's no habits to follow. There's no routines needing to improve, discipline. And this is really funny because a lot of the people watching my content have probably most likely never meditated. They've never read books. They haven't done a lot of like the typical self-help, right? So what I'm saying here is more geared towards those of you who are more self-actualized and in the self-transcendent levels of development. Because it requires something to get to that point, right? In Buddhism, there's a beautiful quote. If you see the Buddha on the road, kill him. Basically, this means that the Buddha is a block to enlightenment. Looking up to any authority figure, holding on and attaching yourself to the idea of the Buddha. This is blocking you from awakening, from listening to some authority figure out there rather than your own self. So if you see the Buddha on the road, kill him, right? There's another good one. The Dharma is empty. The Dharma just being the Buddhist teachings, right? Once you're enlightened, you can throw away the Dharma. Even the Dharma is empty. So essentially, this is really about trusting where the feeling of lightness takes you. It's about attuning to yourself moment by moment. See, that's why it's hard to actually convey this message in this video. It can seem a little bit strange to some people. It's this habitual attunement to your own self, to the flow of energy in the moment. This is really about trusting your own alignment and being connected to yourself. This is about really learning to trust yourself and your own genuine path in life above everything else, above what I say, above what a book says, above what that person says, but literally everyone else. It's about very deeply connecting to yourself and listening to that. Because the thing is, with any kind of diet advice or self-help program or routine, is that essentially there's going to be a point where life is going to bring you some kind of circumstance that doesn't line up with your self-concept, with how it should, what I should be doing and how life should be going. And you're going to suffer because of that. Because your body is going to harden up to fit a particular self-concept, and life is going to really rub up on it. It's going to cause suffering. And if you can't just let go and open up and let the energy move and flow, right, you're gonna suffer because of that one. Another core point here is that around a lot of self-help habits and routines and all this stuff, there's a lot of guilt, right? If I'm following this diet, right, and then, oh no, I eat some ice cream or something. There's a lot of shaming of oneself for eating ice cream or for doing something that I believe I shouldn't be doing. It's a belief that has to be let go of so you can just attune to life in a very honest and clear way. It's like the mind just develops all these weird beliefs about how it should be, what it is, how it should be unfolding, what I should be doing, all these weird shoulds. And it's like we have to let go of that stuff to actually attune to actual life. Letting go of our preconceived notions and embracing total uncertainty so that we can just attune to existence. Right, so this is very counterintuitive. Right? I want you to remain with this idea of counterintuitive. It's almost like the exact opposite of what you think. You'd think that if I want to get to like max consciousness, I can never eat ice cream ever again. Actually, it's funny, your body knows what it needs. There's going to be a moment in time where your body is actually going to pull you to doing something that doesn't fit within your idea of what I should be doing. And either you're going to fight against that and repress it, or you're going to allow yourself to just open up and allow the energy to just move and flow. Right? This is living in a more natural and organic way rather than one of repressing and attaching yourself to like, this is what I should be doing. This is the program I should be following. I should. This starts to close you down. Actually blocks the flow of energy. There's a core part of this teaching that I'm giving you here of just trusting the body's needs, trusting the energy flow of the body, trusting your own intrinsic guidance above your rigid plans, above your beliefs, above your ideas, above your routines, above the idea of what you should be doing. The body's a lot wiser than the mind. And this is very obvious to people who are at higher levels of consciousness. This is a common theme of people who are at higher levels of consciousness. I see it over and over and over again. This is a common theme in people who are at Sprouted stage turquoise, or in ego development theory, the construct-aware stage, or in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the self-transcendent level of development. It's above self-actualization. Even in people who are at the self-actualization level, recognize a lot of this stuff. So it's super counterintuitive, because essentially what I'm doing here is I'm kind of breaking the mind. It's like there's all this kind of stuff that's trying to arise in your experience, but your mind is habitually repressing it because of the beliefs of how experience should be, how this should unfold. It's clinging to certainty and outcome. And what I'm saying is to learn to just embrace the arising and passing of life. The feelings in your gut right now, allow them to arise. The feelings in your chest, allow them to arise and pass. As you walk through your neighborhood and through your life, allowing everything to just arise and pass without resistance. And trusting the arising and passing and this flow of energy above everything else, above any concept that your mind creates, above any map that your mind creates, above anything I'm saying in any one of my videos. Super counterintuitive. This is essentially about really connecting to yourself and actually trusting yourself. This is real self-trust. This is real confidence that I'm actually sharing with you in this video. Right? Confidence isn't just like having big muscles and like getting a bunch of girls and having a bunch of money in a cool car. Confidence is presence. Confidence is aligning yourself with life. So that's it for this video. If you guys are interested in working with me one-to-one, you can apply to do that. Link is in the pinned comment and the description. I highly recommend that you guys check out my book list. It's full of resources that are going to help you to get to this level of consciousness. That's it for this one though. Peace out.